Hello everybody, today I'm going to be showing you how to make this simple smart nightlight project using the ESP32 S3. So the way this works is it uses a light dependent resistor or LDR to measure the light, send it to the ESP32 S3 and use the onboard LED to show ambient lighting. Also, we have a screen here that shows the mode. I also added this button which turns on an emergency light. So if your power cuts, you can just use that. So for this project, excluding wires, you're gonna need any ESP32 board, well specifically one that has enough pins. And you're also gonna need an OLED, this is optional, and a light dependent resistor, a 10 kilo ohm resistor, and a button. Let's get started. So if you're gonna want to code this, you're going to need these libraries. For number one, we have the OLED display libraries. These are what we're gonna use for the OLED. These are optional if you're not gonna use an OLED. Then we have the RGB LED. For this one, this LED actually uses, you can use Adafruit NeoPixel on pin 48. Then over here we have the I2C communication. Now let's actually get on to the building and the wiring. So I recommend you get one of these 830 point breadboards, and I've added this mini one for the OLED, but this and the OLED is optional. So first you're gonna place your LDR and your button. You can place them anywhere, but this is what I've done. Then your OLED, and you can use any ESP32. I'm just using the S3. So you place all of those, then we get started with the wiring. So first you're gonna need this 10 kilo ohm resistor. So let's bend the legs. Let's bend it. Okay. Then you're gonna place it from the LDR second leg to just any point, because we're going to be connecting it to ground, so you have to connect that to ground. Okay. We're going to use this one shared ground, these two rails for power, so we've added that. Now we're going to take another wire, connect it at the other leg of the LDR. This is going to be our 3-volt power. Then you place it there, like that. Now let's get the power for the OLED. So here you can see VCC and GND. VCC, yeah. So place this VCC, then to 3 volts. So we're going to do that for GND as well. Like that. Okay. Then as for the button, you know, with these tactile buttons, if you connect them like this, these will always be connected. So we're gonna have to connect across from each other. So here, this will be connected to ground. Then the other point, which will be here, will be connected to our GPIO pin. Over here I've got it as GPIO4, but in the code you can change it to fit whichever one you want. So here we're gonna find GPIO4 and place it there. Okay. Our button wiring is complete. Let me just make some more space. Okay. So after that, we're gonna do the SCL and SDA wiring. So we're gonna take these two. For SCL, I'm using GPIO 9 for SCL and GPIO 8 for SDA. Wait, 9 is right there, so this is wrong. Okay, then 8 for SDA. Then we're gonna, as you can see, we've only connected 3 volts 3 and GND to the LDR. So the way we're gonna measure it is we're gonna grab another wire and connect. Over here we have the same point, resistor and LDR. We're gonna connect that same place to our chosen GPIO. Here I've chosen 13. So I'll locate 13 on my ESP and connect. Okay. So now the LDR has more space. Then we're gonna connect the power, the actual power, to everything. Because so far we've only connected the components to the rail, but we haven't connected the rail to the power. So for this, all our components need only 3 volts, so I'm gonna connect the 3 volts there to the red power rail. Then I'm gonna connect the GND rail, which is here, to the GND pin to the blue pin, the blue rail. Okay, like that. Once you're done with that, we're gonna code. So I've included the code in the description, not a link, just text. So you're gonna copy that code into here. You wanna make sure that you've installed these libraries. For I2C, it's usually included with ESP32. If you don't, it's gonna give an error. Then you copy the code here. If you wanna change pins, you can do it in the OLED section and the hardware section. For OLED, we have the SDA and SCL. We have 8 and 9. You can change that to any GPIO you want, depending on what board you're using. Then for the LDR and button, we have here 13 and 4. You can change those if you want. As for button, you can even use a touch pin if you're using an S3, but this is more simple. So then after that, you're gonna select your board. Over here I have ESP32 S3 dev module. You want to make sure your boards are downloaded. Then you're going to click upload. If using a different port doesn't work, you can try a different USB cable and make sure it is a data cable. I've finished uploading and this is the finished project. Here you have an OLED display that shows the light. I think it's in lumens. Yeah, lumens. No. So if using a different port doesn't work, you can try a different cable and make sure it's a data one. Anyways, this is the finished project. Here it shows the light and mode and status. So when something is covering the LDR or it's dark, it shows status dark, mode normal, and it turns on this ambient lighting. When there's light, it shows normal and bright. And when you click this button, it turns on a bright white light and shows emergency white. I'm gonna test it by turning off the light in my room now. And as you can see, it works. Then let's say your power cuts in the middle of the night, you can just press the button to turn on this white light. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, ask me about them in the comments. And remember that the code is in the description. Bye.